For over 1,000 years, no Greek city-state went to war, founded a colony, or made a significant political decision without first consulting a woman. Not a king, not a general, not a council of men. A woman seated in a stone chamber on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, breathing the air that rose from a crack in the earth beneath her, speaking the words of the god Apollo. Her title was the Pythia. Her authority was absolute, and the world she shaped through her pronouncements was the classical world that became the foundation of Western civilization. She had no single name. She was the Pythia. The office outlasted the individual. One woman died or retired, and another took her place, and the authority passed seamlessly, the god's voice continuing through a new human vessel. The institution endured for over 1,000 years, from approximately 800 BCE to 390 CE, when the Christian emperor Theodosius ordered the closure of all pagan sanctuaries. Delphi sits on the southern slope of Mount Parnassus, at a height of approximately 570 meters, overlooking the Valley of Phocis. The Greeks called it the omphalos, the navel of the world, the axis of the cosmos, the place where the two eagles released by Zeus from opposite ends of the earth met in the center. The Temple of Apollo was the heart of the sanctuary. Carved into its entrance were two phrases that together define the Delphic philosophical tradition: know thyself, nothing in excess. The oracle operated from within, in an inner chamber called the Adyton, the place not to be entered, below the level of the main floor, where the sacred spring flowed and the earth exhaled. Who was the Pythia? In the earliest period, she was required to be a young virgin. This changed after an incident documented by the historian Diodorus Siculus, in which a young Pythia was abducted and assaulted by a petitioner. After that, the role was given to women over 50. Older women whose experience and gravity were considered more appropriate to the weight of the office. They continued to dress in the white robes of a young woman, maintaining the symbolic continuity of the role. She was chosen from the women of Delphi itself. Local women, often of ordinary background, farmers' wives and daughters, rather than aristocrats or scholars. This was deliberate. The Pythia's authority did not come from her education or social status. It came from her relationship with the god. A woman of humble origins who spoke with the voice of Apollo was evidence of divine election, not human ambition. Once chosen, she dedicated her life entirely to the role. She left her husband if she had one. She lived within the sanctuary precinct, observing strict ritual purity, specific dietary restrictions and bathing practices, and specific prohibitions on contact with the outside world. Her life was shaped entirely around her fitness to serve as Apollo's voice. The consultation was one of the most elaborate ritual processes in the ancient world. The Pythia undertook days of preparation, fasting, purification, bathing in the Castalius spring that flowed from the cliffs above the sanctuary. On the day itself, she rose before dawn. She drank from the Cassotis spring. She chewed laurel leaves, the plant sacred to Apollo, with mild psychoactive properties. Then she descended into the Adyton. The Adyton contained a sacred stone, the omphalos, the navel of the world, and a tripod, a three-legged bronze seat over which the Pythia sat. Beneath the tripod was the chasm, the fissure in the rock from which the pneuma, the divine breath, rose from the earth. She sat above it, she breathed it, and she spoke. For centuries, modern scholars dismissed the ancient accounts of the vapours as myth. The geological surveys of the 19th and early 20th centuries found no evidence of gas emissions, and the consensus hardened. The pneuma was poetic invention. Then, in 1998, a team of geologists, Jelle de Boer, John Hale, and their colleagues, began a new survey using modern methods. What they found overturned the consensus entirely. Delphi sits at the intersection of two geological fault lines. The bituminous limestone beneath the sanctuary contains significant concentrations of petrochemical compounds. When heated by geological activity and exposed to the water of the Cassotis spring, these compounds release gases. Ethylene in particular, a sweet-smelling hydrocarbon that at low concentrations produces euphoria, a floating sensation, and in some cases, trance states and enhanced verbal fluency. At higher concentrations, it produces confusion and loss of coordination. The ancient accounts of the Pythia are consistent with low to moderate ethylene exposure. De Boer and Hale published their findings in the journal Geology in 2001. The vapor hypothesis is now widely accepted among scholars of ancient religion. What had been dismissed as superstition was confirmed as geology. The earth beneath Delphi was breathing. The woman who sat above the chasm was entering an altered state produced by what the earth exhaled. That this was real was never in question for the people who practiced it. 1,000 years of consultation is not the behavior of people who doubted. It is modern civilization that lost the thread, and modern geology that had to find its way back to what the ancient world simply knew. The questions brought to the oracle were not trivial. Should Athens build a fleet of warships with the silver newly discovered at Laurion? The oracle said yes. The fleet that resulted defeated the Persian navy at Salamis in 480 BCE and saved Greek civilization from conquest. Croesus of Lydia, planning a war against Persia, sent enormous gifts to Delphi and asked whether he should attack. The oracle told him that if he crossed the Halys River, a great empire would fall. He attacked. The empire that fell was his own. Virtually every major Greek city-state sent embassies to Delphi before significant undertakings. Athens, Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, Syracuse, each represented in the Delphic treasury, their accumulated offerings a physical record of how seriously the ancient world took this woman's words. The Pythia's responses were often deliberately ambiguous, requiring interpretation, demanding that the questioner engage their own intelligence rather than simply receive an instruction. She did not make decisions for those who came to her. She gave them material to think with. The responsibility for interpretation remained with the human who asked. This is a sophisticated understanding of how divine guidance actually works, not as command, but as illumination. The Pythia did not remove human agency, she expanded it. Behind the oracle, as it existed in the classical period, there is evidence of something older. The myth of Apollo's acquisition of Delphi describes how the god came to the site and found it guarded by a great serpent, Python, or in some versions Delphine, a female serpent. Apollo killed it. He claimed the site. He established his oracle there. The killing of a serpent to claim a sacred site is not a story about defeating a monster. It is a story about one religious tradition displacing another. The serpent, in ancient religious symbolism across the Mediterranean and Near East, was consistently associated with the earth goddess, with chthonic wisdom, with the divine feminine rooted in the earth. Archaeological evidence supports this reading. Pottery and figurines at the site suggest religious use from the Bronze Age, associated with Ge or Gaia. The omphalos stone, the sacred spring, the chasm in the earth. These are features of an earth goddess tradition, not a sky god tradition. Apollo inherited them. The Pythia herself, the word means she of the python, carried the older tradition in her very title. She was named for the serpent Apollo had killed to claim her seat. The woman who spoke for the sky god sat above a crack in the earth, drank from a spring that rose from within it, and bore the name of the earth's own guardian. Consider what this institution gave to the people who lived within its reach. For over 1,000 years, at the moment of greatest uncertainty, war, colonization, plague, political crisis, the ancient world turned to a woman. Not to comfort, not to ceremony, to authority. The Pythia held the most consequential office in the ancient world, and she held it as a woman, chosen from ordinary life, elevated not by birth or wealth, but by her capacity to be a vessel for something beyond herself. For the communities who came to her, this was not metaphor. It was the order of the world, a world in which feminine wisdom sat at the center of human decision-making, grounded in the earth, rooted in the body, trusted entirely. The goddess was not entirely gone when Apollo claimed Delphi. She was absorbed, her sacred site claimed, her earth-rooted power channeled through a new male deity, her female voice maintained as the mechanism through which that deity spoke. The masculine sky god needed the feminine earth to be heard. He had taken her place, but he could not take her function. For over 1,000 years, the most powerful voice in the ancient world was still a woman's.